Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
It's now too late for City of Launceston voters to return their votes by mail. Just under 70% of residents have made their choice for the mayoral by-election. The election was triggered after former Mayor Danny Gibson resigned from his position in May. Completed voting packs must now be returned to the council office during business hours or to the TEC office at Invermay. The polls close at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Those who fail to return a vote will be fined. A community food van helping homeless people in Hobart's outer suburbs is one of 35 food programs to secure funding in the latest round of the Community Food Relief Grants program. The Italian-Australian Pensioners Welfare Association will receive nearly $10,000 to supply more than 1,000 meals to those in need, working in partnership with Hobart City Mission, Kingborough Lions Club and Hazel Brothers.
The demand is enormous and they just enjoy fresh made food, which is probably very rare. So plus it's Italian flavour, which a lot of people do enjoy.
We know that with cost of living pressures as they are, that the need for emergency food relief is going to be ongoing.
Hobart City Mission says it's seen a 66% increase in food support since 2020. Local scientists have had a field day showing off the tools and technology used to research aquaculture in the state's southeast. Now in its second year, the open house was a chance for the public to learn more about one of Tasmania's largest and most disputed industries.
They're the brains behind controversial research, a group of scientists showcasing the work being done at Storm Bay after it was identified as a priority location to expand the state's salmon industry.
In recognition of the need for some really robust science, over the last 5 years there's been over $10 million of research funded to both CSIRO and IMAS.
The organisation's teaming up with the Fisheries Research and Development Corporation to give members of the public an insight into their findings.
We've got all that the field work, all the measurements from boats and so on that's been going on.
We need to have a really clear understanding of what's out in the environment, what's its condition before the industry expands, and then we need to make sure we've got a monitoring program that's really robust.
From marine life to underwater footage, sediment examples and the equipment used to dive beneath the depths. The displays attracted Tasmanians of all ages and views.
From the last event, we had people come in with real concerns and we're actually quite, feeling quite emotional about that.
It's not about trying to persuade people about what they should think about the industry. It's so people can come in, learn about the science and make informed decisions.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Book lovers have braved wild weather to find a gem of a read. Attendees collected books by the trolleyful as City Mission's annual Book Fest returned. More than 50,000 pre-loved editions, games, puzzles, records and collectibles, including a Bible from the 1870s, were up for grabs.
It's well up on last year. We've got more books and we've had more sales. Yesterday was record sales for a Friday, which was absolutely fantastic. So thanks to the community for coming out and supporting us.
The proceeds from Bookfest will directly support the organisation's programs and services in the local community. The free event will move to the northwest coast later this month. Entries have opened for this year's Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. The Cruising Yacht Club of Australia says it's looking forward to welcoming boats back to the Blue Water Classic, which begins on Boxing Day. Supermaxi Comanche was first over the line in 2022 in just under 36 hours, with Sam Haynes' Celestial taking out the overall win. Both are expected to defend their crowns. Entries close at 5 p.m. on Friday, October 27. It's an achievement becoming rarer and rarer. A Longford Football Club stalwart has today celebrated his 300th game. Sam Graham marking the milestone match perfectly, celebrating a win in the Tigers Guernsey.
Two arch rivals united.
Go Sammy!
37-year-old Sam Graham running out for his 300th game with the Longford Football Club.
Pretty good achievement now. I'm pretty stoked with it.
He's a pretty amazing bloke. To play 300 club games and to stay loyal to our group, it's amazing.
A last-minute call-up to the seniors started off the day's celebrations.
Very nice to get him into the seniors today with a late out, so couldn't have worked out any better against our arch rivals.
He made his debut in the seniors nearly 20 years ago. That same year, he was named runner-up best and fairest. Known for his versatility, he's shouldered the ruck burden for many years. The club today describing him as ageless.
It doesn't feel like it.
In 2018, he retired, but 5 games into the following season, he was pulling the boots back on.
Every year he gets itchy feet once the season rolls around, so yeah, he could get to 400.
That's a big if, that. We're still feeling all right, so we'll see what happens.
Last year's reserves premiership among some of his career highlights.
Playing in milestones of friends and that, yeah, that's probably the main ones.
His sons, Dustin and Logan, are now starting to warm to their dad's game.
It's really good too to have the young kids coming around here as well. They love coming down here and mucking around with the blokes, so it is another part of your family, really.
It's an amazing effort. He's a legend of our club and an icon, and we're really proud of him.
And as for how he plans to celebrate the milestone match,
hopefully with a win, that'll do.
Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Kingston Tennis Club is sporting a fresh new look. Its upgraded courts and fencing were unveiled to the public today after 8 months of hard work. The project cost more than $260,000 with help from the government's Improving the Playing Fields grant scheme. Members predict the renovations will see an increase in Tasmanians taking a whack at tennis. And while most of us have been trying to escape the cold weather, the Irwins have been basking in it with a visit to Cradle Mountain. Terry, Bindi, Chandler and Grace taking to social media to celebrate the snow at the Wilderness Drawcard today.
Should we be penguins? Ready?
It's not the first time the Irwins have been spotted at the Tasmanian icon. Locally, Launceston overcame the weather and a gritty Lauderdale to record a 21-point win as the TSL returned from the state game break. In other matches, Clarence scored 7 of the final 8 goals to dent North Hobart's faint finals hopes, while North Launceston was too strong for Glenorchy.
Tough footy conditions greeted Launceston and Lauderdale at Windsor Park. In a slog, Lauderdale were in front at the first change.
25 out. Judges it nicely with the breeze and kicks their first goal for Lauderdale. Ed Stanley.
The Blues finding a spark in the second quarter. 3-0, putting them in front at the main break as they began to take control.
Second goal of the quarter for Launceston. He's judged it nicely. Liam Jones, he's put it straight through the middle.
Ed Stanley keeping the Southern Bombers in the contest as Sam Siggins showed some of his best form.
Siggins, Stannies, it's gonna be okay!
But a late goal from Liam Jones gave the reigning premiers some breathing space at the last change. 3-1 in the final term, helping Launceston record a gritty but important victory. At North Hobart Oval, Clarence dominated early on, but the Demons were more clinical in front of goal. The second term was a feisty affair, with spot fires breaking out. Both teams switching the lead through the first half in an entertaining contest, the Roos managing to edge in front by the main break. They broke the game open either side of half-time, 7 straight goals putting them in prime position. North Hobart unable to find any answers as the Roos revived their season in the wet. And at Utah's it was a bomber blitz early on. 6-0 giving North Launceston a healthy quarter-time lead. The Magpies finally got on the board in the second term, but the home side were a class above, taking a 47-point lead into the main break. Glenorchy kept trying and putting goals on the board, but they were no match. A little bit of aggro in the final term had the crowd getting involved, but it wouldn't change the result. Brad Cox Goodyear leading the charge, as the dominant yet slightly inaccurate Northern Bombers scored a win. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The Hobart Chargers men's side has continued its winning ways with a 15-point victory against the visiting Mount Gambier Pioneers. Jack jumper Sam McDaniel had a brilliant outing, scoring 27 points. While in Ulverston, it was a Thunder throwdown. Northwest Tasmania unfortunately couldn't get the win, falling to Keilor 92-77. Meanwhile, the Tornadoes had a dominant performance against the Keilor Thunder in Ulverston, winning 87-65. Riley Lupfer scored 22 points in the victory with 6 successful shots from beyond the arc. In Hobart, the Chargers women fell to the Pioneers by 18 points. Tonight, our NBL 1 sides will switch opponents. The Tawns and Thunder face Mount Gambier at Elphin Stadium, while the Chargers teams host Keilor. In the NPL, Devonport left it late to return to the NPL's winners list. A piece of magic from Roberto Fernandez-Garrido in the 78th minute, enough for the Strikers to edge out the Canberra Lions. At Darcy Street, South Hobart was too strong for a determined Riverside Olympic. 2 goals either side of half-time, helping them to a 2-1 win. In the women's, Devonport and Kingborough players came together pre-game to call for greater gender equality between men's and women's soccer. On the field, the Strikers were too strong, thumping the Lions 8-3. South Hobart also remains undefeated, recording a 2-0 win over Taroona. There's been a stunning boil-over in the Tasmanian Netball League, with minor premiers Northern Hawks going down to the Cavaliers. The unbeaten Hawks led early on, but a late second quarter blitz put the Cavs in front at half-time as they took control. Esther Kidmus scoring 41 from 44 as her side recorded a famous 62-56 win to move into the grand final. The Hawks face Cripps Waratah in next week's preliminary final after they came back against Kingston. Kingston punished an unusually sloppy Cripps to lead at half-time. However, those in maroon dominated the second half, eventually winning 56-47. Sophie Gunn on target for Cripps, firing in 36 goals from 38 attempts. An Oscar Sproul hat-trick has helped Tasmania's under-18 boys side into the final of hockey's national championships. Taking on South Australia, Tassie made a fast and dominant start, 3 goals before half-time, all but sealing the result in front of a passionate home crowd at the Hockey Centre. Tasmania eventually won 4-1 to book a spot in tomorrow's final, where they'll play Queensland. While it was an unfortunate race for Tassie driver Lockie Dalton in the Super 2 series, his Commodore's wheels locking up in turn 2, narrowly avoiding a crash. Fellow Tasmanian Campbell Logan finished second in the Toyota 86 series.
Good evening. It's been a rainy and windy winter's day. 14 the top for Hobart today, Launceston, Devonport and Burnie all 13. Friendly Beaches 15, 14 for Bushy Park and Grove. Laewini 4 degrees, 13 the top for all other towns seen here. A cold front crossed the state today, bringing some isolated thunderstorms around the north. Some unstable cloud also moving over Tasmania, and a low pressure system passes to the south. Cloud moving over southern states today, mostly clear skies elsewhere. A westerly airstream will cross the state tomorrow, while a high centre over central Australia extends to a ridge over most of the country. Westerly winds of 30 to 40 knots, tending to 20 to 30 around the east coast. Swells reaching up to 8 metres for the west and south, before easing off to 5 later in the day, reaching up to 4 metres in the north. A severe weather alert has been issued for damaging winds for King Island and large parts of the West, Midlands and South East, and more damaging surf around the Furneaux Islands. There's a gale wind warning for most coastal waters, strong winds for the upper east coast and central plateau lakes. Minor flood warnings for the Meander and North Esk rivers. There's also a sheep graziers alert for most of the state. More wet weather is on the way tomorrow. A shower or two and 14 for Hobart and Richmond, ooze showers and 12. A possible shower for Launceston, 15 and showers easing in Devonport. Deloraine, showers and 13. Showers and 13 for Burnie and Strawn. Curry, showers easing and very windy. Mostly sunny and 15 at St Helens. Swansea, partly cloudy, also 15. A very windy Sunday for Whitemark and showers easing. And that wet weather will stick around for much of the week, with showers above the west and Bass Strait on Monday, extending statewide later in the day. More showers for the west and south on Tuesday, fine elsewhere. Showers developing about the northwest on Wednesday, before extending over most areas throughout the day. Sunny for Sydney and Brisbane tomorrow, 16 for Melbourne, 33 in Darwin. Currently it's raining in Hobart and Devonport, Launceston cloudy and 9. And Tom, you've got a bit of an extra smile on your dial tonight. I hear you've walked away with a pretty impressive result from the footy field.
Well, I've been talking non-stop about it, Vic, but yes, my first win in footy in 8 years. I've missed a few in between. Plenty of celebrations for the Uni Lions reserves tonight, that's for sure. A much higher standard of football coming your way. The Saints and the Demons are up next. Thanks so much for joining us and have a great Saturday night.